of course. Thank you for reaching out to me and asking me to do it.
Yeah, of course. All right, so I guess we're just gonna dive right in. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from?
Yeah, for sure. So I am originally from Lawrence, Kansas, which is just like smack dab in the middle of the US.
Yeah.
Grew up there in a pretty musical family. My dad would always like sing songs to me and my sister. I have two older sisters, and we all did choir and stuff. And I took voice lessons with my older sister, and she was like, "This is not my thing at all." And I was like, "Oh, I really like this. Like, this is fun." So I just kind of kept doing that. Started taking like guitar lessons, piano lessons, and started playing shows and stuff when I was like 12, like 13 maybe. Um,
Really?
and yeah, it was fully just my piano teacher's band. He was like, "Oh, like you should come sing some like Ella Fitzgerald and like Nat King Cole with us." And I was like 12. I was like, "Okay, sure." It's not Justin Bieber, but all right. Like, um, so started playing shows when I was in like middle school with my piano teacher, and then started playing my own shows, solo shows, and playing music more relevant to what I was actually listening to. And then my freshman year of high school, I moved out to California and purely to like work on music more professionally, and produced my first album and was doing online school at the time, which who knew we would be back to that. um, and then moved back to Kansas my sophomore year for my oldest sister, and then auditioned for performing arts high schools in Orange County. So I went to OSHA. I moved back here and went to OSHA for my junior and senior year, and then applied to USC. And now I go to USC. And in that process, I've started recording music with a different producer and have been like releasing singles and playing shows with the people that I've met at USC. And yeah.
So, like, how old were you, would you say, like, when you started doing all of the voice lessons and, like, when did you
So
start getting into music?
So I started taking voice lessons from this girl named Ashley Davis when I was probably, I want to say like 10 years old. It started with like voice lessons when I was like 10, and then I started taking guitar lessons from her as well. And as far as like songwriting goes, like me and my sisters would write songs together when we were kids about like mermaids and monsters and stuff, just like because
Yeah.
very creative minds when you're like 7. And I remember going into my guitar lesson one day, and my teacher, who was also a musician, had like lyrics of her song like taped up on the walls. And I
Mhm.
walked in and I was like, "What's going on? Like, what are we doing today, Ashley?" And she was like, "Oh, no, like, this is nothing. Like, I'm just releasing a song and I was trying to figure out like the order that I wanted these lyrics to go in. Do you want to help?" And I was like, "Yes, like, let's do it. Like, let's try to do this." So then we were like talking about the storyline and like what the plot of the song was, and I was like, "Oh, it'd be so cool if like this happened." And she was very nice to let me be a part of that process, considering I was like probably like 11 something at the time and didn't know what I was talking about. Um, but I definitely remember leaving that lesson and being like, okay, songwriting is definitely what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like that was so fun, and like that's what I want to be doing. And I think that definitely kind of propelled me to just write more for myself and write about the experiences that I had started going through once I entered high school. Less about mermaids, more about the people in my life, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah.
what do you like to write about? Like, what are your favorite topics, I guess?
Oh, I'm such a love song girl. I literally, if it's not about my personal experiences in life, then it's definitely me pulling from some rom-com that I've watched on Netflix. I think the experiences that you have with people are so monumental in how you express yourself through art, whether that be like visual arts or music performances. So yeah, a lot of my songs are about my personal experiences with other people, as well as the stuff that I've been writing recently is more about like my own internal stuff and kind of like what I'm going through. Now is a very weird time with a global pandemic happening, and we have a lot of time to ourselves to kind of sit and think about where we're at and where we want to be. So, in addition to songs about my experiences with other people, I've also started writing a lot more about my internal dialogue as well.
So have you been writing more because you've had like time with quarantine and everything?
Oh, absolutely. I think, well, I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Like doing school and classes online, you tend to prioritize that and, you know, go to classes in person and you have stuff to do. But quarantine definitely just, I had to stay home. Like there wasn't any other option of things to do in my free time. So fully that just forced me to sit in my room and do music. Like that's all that I had to do, and which was really, really great because, you know, practice makes better practice. um, but yeah, definitely had a lot of time over quarantine to really dive into different songwriting tactics.
Yeah, I feel like weirdly enough, as like kind of boring as that time was, a lot of people like explored a lot of creative things.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think like picking up hobbies as well. Like I downloaded Duolingo and tried to learn French. That didn't last long, but like it was definitely a thing that happened. Um, and I think, a lot of like non-musical people as well also picked up like instruments during that time too. So I think as much as it's a, um, like worldwide issue, it's also kind of nice to have time to explore different things.
Mhm. So, like, what do you think is something that's unique to you as an artist and in your writing and in your music that makes you stand out from other people?
A big question. Um, I think what makes me unique, I guess. Oh, wait, let me think about this. Okay,
You can,
what makes me unique in my writing?
or anything, just in your music and your writing.
Oh, okay. I think as far as my writing goes, I think like being a member of the LGBTQ plus community has given me a really interesting not interesting, has given me a unique sense of writing in that I can write about my experiences with other women, and that is like now becoming at least a more, I'd like to think it's becoming a more accepted topic. And I think, it's a very heterosexual dominated society. So I guess that my personal experiences and kind of making that, or sorry, my personal experiences and my writing tries to kind of challenge those like heteronormative storylines on women. So I guess in a sense that would be my unique point of view through my writing.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot in music that's been coming out lately that even just pronoun changes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He as the pronoun is like it's such a small thing, but it's I'm glad that it's kind of moving in that direction where it's okay for you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important to have that representation. I mean, obviously, with the Black Lives Matter movement, like Black creatives, them getting representation, and also like LGBT plus communities getting representation. I think that's a really important aspect of the music industry that doesn't get stomped on, but is definitely not as prominent as it should be. Um, so yeah, I definitely think it's making progress, but there's definitely a long way to go.
For sure. So who are your like major influences, inspirations who you grew up to?
Um, let's see. I always get asked this question and it's always changing, so I never know how to answer. But I definitely grew up on older artists because, I was taking lessons from adults that would just kind of share their music tastes. I didn't really know what I was listening to at that point in time. So I grew up listening to a lot of, Beatles, Joni Mitchell, Norah Jones, Alicia Keys, like Nat King Cole, Ella Fitzgerald, Patsy Cline, even just like a lot of like older artists. And I think those definitely impacted how I look at music, how I write music, and today's world. Also, I apologize for this playing in the background, but more like modern artists that have impacted me. I think Phineas definitely. Alicia Cara is an artist that I've dreamed of collaborating with, as well as Julia Michaels, her songwriting style. Justin Bieber, even like I was such a believer that just like it had to have impacted me in some way.
Weren't we
Uh,
all?
oh yeah, I fully was listening to his whole discography today.
His
But
album is slept on.
I agree, actually. Okay, I think everyone was thrown off because of Yummy, which fair. Like honestly, I get it. But like intention slaps. That's what love is. Slaps. It's good. It's good music.
So let me see. Let me look at the questions here. What's your favorite song you've ever written?
Who? Oh. Does it have to be released?
No.
Would it help if it was released so then people would know what I'm talking about?
Maybe you could do like two.
Like two? Okay. That's fair. Okay, I think um released my favorite song that I've written um mm, ooh, I think it would be a tie between uh my song mm, my song Partly
Mhm.
and my song Sweet Dreams, just because for Sweet Dreams only because that was kind of the first complete song that I wrote and was actually proud of, and I was pretty young at the time that I wrote it. I think I was probably like 12 or 13, around that age.
Yeah.
And it ended up being one on my first album that I produced when I was 14. I don't know who let me do that, but it happened. And I think that one's just a favorite because of that sort of accomplishment, that like milestone of me writing a full song. And then I think partly just because I've seen it resonate with so many people, which it's a breakup song, so that kind of sucks, like that's the one that resonates with people, but very grateful that people can listen to my music and get some sort of like validation for their own emotions.
Yeah.
As far as released, honestly, unreleased but soon to be released would be my song Clueless, because I think it's just a very this song is basically about me having feelings for one of my best friends at the time and kind of telling her that. And I think it's just a very honest song. So I think that's one of my favorites, and I'm very excited to share that with people because it's coming out somewhat soon. I'm very,
Excited.
very excited.
That's great.
Excited.
Um, so what is your writing process like? Like, do you start with the music, or is it more lyrics, or how do you kind of go about that?
I think honestly, my writing process kind of changes depending on what phase of life I'm in. But most recently, I will kind of think of a line or two in my head or words that rhyme. And I'm like, okay, this kind of sounds cool. Maybe I can build off of that. So yeah, most recently it's been building a storyline and picking words that I'd want to use, and then going to guitar or piano or like ukulele or something and kind of building the foundation for that, and then putting them together and having that complete product.
Very cool. And do you sit down at a specific time to like write things, or is it just like if you feel it, you're gonna sit down and do it?
I definitely should. I feel like practicing songwriting and establishing a time every day that you sit down and work on it is so important, and I'm so bad at doing that. Um,
Anytime you
no,
like
yeah,
forced. So
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely just it'll come out at like random times. Like I was driving today, I was on the freeway and I thought about a song that could happen about like the exits or something, and I think inspiration kind of strikes wherever, but it would be nice if I could just pull that out of myself at a certain time of day.
for sure. Um, and what's a career highlight of yours that you're most proud of so far?
Um Actually the show that I did a live stream concert last night, literally last night. Wow, that okay, cool. I did a live stream concert last night that was a benefit concert. It was like women empowerment, and I got to perform alongside some of my closest friends, three other artists: Maddie Davis, Tippy Ballady, and Cordelia, and our lovely band full of just pop students. And I think one, just being able to actually like perform with people again is really cool. And of course this was all COVID safe. Like we had all got tested negative, and we're still wearing our masks for like the production team that was there. um, but I think that has been a really great accomplishment for me, just considering that we started playing venues like Genghis Cohen, which is it's on like Fairfax. It's like a really like I think like 20-person max capacity like restaurant, and we went from that to playing this like very um, well produced benefit concert that was super fun.
Yeah.
um, and I'm very excited to see where we go from there. But definitely a very cool event, and I'm very grateful to be a part of.
How do you feel about like performing during COVID with obviously like there isn't a crowd, there you're kind of losing a lot of the energy. Has it been weird for you or is it still like I'm sure it's still fun, but
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, and I think throughout quarantine, I've done live stream concerts that are just me by myself on like Instagram Live or through a different platform, and it is definitely weird to not have that audience. But being able to perform with a band is you're still with your peers, and I think when it comes down to it, you're just playing music that feels very authentically you, and it's a really good feeling to do that. It's just very therapeutic. I mean, it's a good time, but I think it's definitely a weird time, and being able to share music with anyone in any capacity is super fulfilling, even if it is through online platforms.
so where do you want to be in your career in say like 5 to 10 years once COVID's kind of like over or hopefully
Let's see, 5 to 10 years, I'll be like 25, 30. I think post COVID, obviously, I would love to be doing some type of tour, um, and being able to kind of expand a fan base further than just, USC, California, my hometown, stuff like that. Um, but also, I think, the music industry is so huge, and there's so much that I haven't learned about it, that I'm so interested in. So I think, I definitely want to explore different aspects of it, like music marketing, management, stuff like that. Songwriting for other artists too would be so fun. Um, but yeah, I think, if I'm not writing for myself and performing for myself, I want to be writing for other people. So I think in 5 to 10 years, a tour would be sick. So maybe some cool collaborations. If I could collaborate with Alicia Cara, I would cry tears of joy. That would be amazing. Um, but yeah, honestly, I think there's just a lot that I've yet to explore. And I think in 5 to 10 years, I would love to have a better grasp on various aspects of the music industry.
there's a lot. I mean, are you
So much.
you're obviously in Thornton here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, are you in a major where you can kind of explore those different things in classes and stuff?
Yeah, I'm a popular music major, like performance major with an emphasis on songwriting. So most of our classes are geared towards the physical performance. Um, and I'm trying to declare a minor in music industry as well, just so I can be a well-rounded musician.
Yeah, that's
Um,
I love it. Highly.
yeah, I'm really excited. I'm taking a class with Richard Wolf right now. It's like a mindfulness class, which I think is really great to take right now, especially because it's all about like meditation and not letting social media, uh, consume your mind, basically. Um, but I think, yeah, I feel very grateful that there's a lot of cross collaboration between the performance majors and the industry majors, even the production majors too. Like, I took a songwriting class my first semester at USC, and it was people in every different program, which was so cool.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of collaboration, and I feel like even if I'm not taking classes specifically for music industry, I learn a lot from my peers that are in music industry, as I'm sure you guys do too as well. I feel like you
Yeah.
learn the most from experiences and hands-on practice.
Yeah, no, that's what I love about the music industry program here is they just
Mhm.
classes are you're doing, you're not sitting there really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
absolutely.
So what would you say your favorite part of the music making process is?
Mm, ah,
And that can include like performing.
Yeah, I would say probably performing a finished piece is so fulfilling.
Oh,
Like especially with like full band, like full arrangements, everything. It's so cool to just see the growth of a concept basically. Like you'll start with a melody or a word or maybe a chord progression, and then it just grows into this complete full song that multiple people can listen to and actually resonate with. And I think um, performing is my favorite part of that process, honestly, and just seeing that process develop.
being able to share it with other people and just yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I mean you people don't really realize how much work goes into like even one single song.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think like Justin Bieber, for example, I think there were like 6 songwriters on his song "Yummy," which is insane to think that 6 people were like, okay, yes, yummy, 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 yummy. But like, it takes a lot for like one song, and as much as people don't like it, it's a very catchy song and it will get stuck in your head. So I think it's just like there is a lot of effort that goes into one song, and to have people like it is like a whole new level.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So as you're, growing as an artist and, you said you wanted to kind of expand your fan base, how do you want to be perceived as an artist? Like what do you want people to see what your message, I guess. I don't know.
Ooh, like my message.
Brand or not to be like brand, but like how do
No,
you
I get you. I think the way that I have presented myself, I feel like I am a very casual person, as like through my style, through my Instagram, even like my music is very personal and very authentic. Like I'm not really trying to jazz it up with like experiences that have fully not happened to me. Um, so I think just as far as like my brand and my message, it's just kind of being authentic, being myself, sharing my experiences with other people, and hoping that that helps them feel valid in their experiences and emotions that they may be facing. Again, with like the LGBT plus representation, um, I think part of my message is just kind of normalizing that and making other people feel more comfortable with that idea. Um, and I feel like that's not as what am I trying to say? I feel like that part of my message and brand isn't so clear to see always
Mhm.
because I am casual, and I think that's sort of the point of it, is that it doesn't have to be
like you can be an artist that is part of that community without being like a gay artist. Like it doesn't have to be like
yeah, it's just kind of like not having to be labeled as a gay artist. It's just like cool, like this is a song that they wrote and it's gay and it's a bop, it's a banger.
this is their life and it yeah.
Yeah, just kind of like normalizing a lifestyle that may not be considered normal to other people. Yeah.
I love that. And then finally, last question, do you have any tips for singer-songwriters that are trying to just start?
Oh boy, I barely know what I'm doing, so I don't know what I'm supposed to tell other people. Um, I don't know. Any like tips for other songwriters, I feel like would just be to learn as much as you can for yourself, collaborate with as many people as you can, write as much as you can. I feel like just do all that you can while you can. Um, I think it's very important to be informed about the industry that you want to go into. Like I still have so much to learn, and
Oh, yeah.
obviously I'm in the process of doing that, as you know everyone at USC is. And I think yeah, just learning as much as you can, collaborating all the time, will kind of help you develop the tools that you can use later to be like, oh well, I tried this that one time with that one person and I liked how that turned out, so now I'm going to use that for this. And I think it really helps develop the sound that you want for yourself, and what kind of music you want to make.
So I actually had like two things I wanted to say. Sorry, I
Yes.
messed up that was like the last question.
No,
But
you're fine. I mean, I'm avoiding homework, so we're good. We're chilling.
me too. Um, so for me, I'm a music industry student right now,
Mhm.
and I was a spring admit last semester. So like I feel like I didn't really get to integrate myself into like the music community, and I was just wondering if you had like tips on like how to like build your community within
Absolutely.
like just within music in general.
Yeah, I actually, so I have my friend Maddie Davis was also a spring admit for in music industry, and I think it's interesting that she was a spring admit because she just seems like she's been here forever. Like she's just like she's literally in. We have like a pop performance group chat with like just our class, and somehow she's like in it. She's just like an honorary like member of that family, and I feel like it's just a matter of putting yourself out there, like reaching out to the people that you admire or you see doing cool things, and you're like, hey, I love what you're doing. Like, I would love to work with you, or like if you need anything, would love to help you out. Going to people's shows, like supporting other artists, is so important. And not for the reason that you think you'll get something back. Like, it's not really about that. It's just like supporting other artists, like if you support other artists, yes, they will support you, but you'll also learn a lot from supporting them and seeing them do their craft. Um, and it also just helps to build that community of other artists and musicians and music industry people. So yeah, I would say just like trying to start a dialogue with everyone and anyone that you admire.
Thank you. Also,
Yeah, of course.
this isn't really a question, but so we were looking for artists to like collaborate with for this project, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like the one who ran across you, and I just wanted to say that I've literally had Perfect Playlist on repeat for like the past week. Your songs are so good, and I feel like it's just like my type of music, you know? Just
Mm-hmm.
want to tell you that.
Thank you so much. That makes me really happy. I'm really glad that you like the songs. I
Uh,
mean, that's all that I want, is for other people to like the music I make. Thank you. Thanks.
I'm so excited.
Thank you. I'm really excited because we have like the producer that I'm working with. We like wrote a bunch together and then kind of looked at everything that we wrote and picked out the ones that we liked the most. And now we're like releasing everything finally. So I've had a bunch of music that's recorded and produced that I just haven't released because I'm just kind of like waiting for it all to be done. So super excited for.
Is there an album on the way? Or
I think so. I think the plan is to release some singles and then release an album. Um, right now I'm just like I just think it's funny because I have all these songs recorded that I play during live shows, but like aren't released.
Yeah.
Which I think is like the weirdest part of being an artist is you have like you'll write a song and then the next day you'll play it live, but it won't be released until like months after the fact. Um, but yeah, very, very excited for everything to come out.
I know, that would be exciting. Well, thank you so much for sitting down.
Yeah,
It was so much fun.
of course. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really honored that you guys like reached out.
We love your stuff.
Yes.
Thank you.
So excited to hear the new stuff.
I'm pumped for you guys to hear it. All right. Well, thank you guys. Take care. Have a good rest of your night. And if you have any more questions or like need anything from me, don't hesitate to reach out.
Of course.
I am always around. But
Thank you so much.
all right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's hope that the recording saves.